Well, good evening. You know, I notice that I say well a lot when I start videos. I probably should work on a little bit of variation there. It has been an interesting journey to try and learn this YouTube Live. And so now I've got to try to let people know that I couldn't use the event that I created, and I'm not really sure how to do that exactly. But I wanted to, is that you, Fred? Are you watching me? Okay, so who is on? Type a comment so that I'm able to see who you are. I saw that there was someone waiting on the other event. Oh, we have a couple of people. Oh, one person. So this is definitely a new medium for me, and I thought I knew what I was doing, but I'm not. So it's definitely a learning opportunity for me. So I'm trying to let folks know, and I'm not even sure how I see comments on my screen. Show live chat messages. Okay, so if you are here, type your name. Oh, hi, Gwenda Miranda. Hi there. How are you? Where are you from, Gwenda? And please let me know if I'm not saying that correctly. I know that names are so important to people. I sure wish I could put a... Fred, can you... Well, hold on. Maybe I can do it here. I've got my laptop in front of me because we were trying all sorts of things to try to let people know what is going on. So hang tight with me. I do have some things I want to share with you, and that way I can also let people know to jump on to my other, I'm trying to post a comment. I'm talking to Fred. I'm trying to post a comment on the event so that people are able to know that the event isn't working. Oh, it looks like it's connected to my event. I'm confused. I don't know. Oh, this is what happens when you learn as you go. Who else is on here? I see we have 3. That's awesome. Yay. I'm very excited about that. So I'm super, super glad that you were able to get on. Thank you, Fred. Perfect pronunciation. Awesome. Lockhart, Texas. Very good. Very good. And are we connected already, Gwenda, or did you just happen to see my post and you got on, or do we know each other some other way? So I appreciate you being on, by the way. Thank you very much. And I am trying to see... It says I'm live, so somehow going live on my phone, okay, very good. You received a notification. Thank you. See, I'm learning. I'm trying to learn how all of this works. So I learned how to create an event, and then I was stressing out because I didn't realize that when I went live on my phone, it would automatically connect to the event. So that makes me excited to know that it's a lot easier than what I thought it was. So I'm very happy about that. Because I definitely, you know, it's a work in progress of, you know, trying to learn how all of this works. It wouldn't let me type before. It's Elizabeth from Indianapolis. Awesome. Welcome, Elizabeth. And now, Elizabeth, since I'm learning this new platform, did you also receive a notification through YouTube, or did you see it posted on Facebook or Twitter? How did you know to hop on tonight? Please check the video resolution. Yes, you follow me. Okay, wonderful. So that's good to know. I wasn't sure how different people were going to receive notifications. So I appreciate the feedback on that. Both of you, if you would, tell me what you do. What business are you in, or for whom do you work? Tell me what you do so that as I'm sharing with you the things that I prepared, I can, you know, pick up on some of that, and personalize it, since you are actually on live with me. Excuse me. An error occurred. Try again later. I'm not sure what that means. All right, well, there might be a little bit of a connection challenge, which is why I'm not seeing the response. Okay, day job. I'm a courier for FedEx, and nights I'm a Premier Designs jewelry lady. Oh, that's awesome. That's a great part-time income, you know, to supplement your FedEx courier job. So that means that you're strong, lifting all those packages and stuff. Okay, and so we have another Premier Designs jewelry lady as well. Very good. I am so glad that the two of you are on. Well, I'm going to get started because I know that there are going to be people who watch this on playback, and I want to make sure that I'm careful and respectful of your time. Oh, looks like we added someone else. Who else is on with me right now? I am so glad you were able to get on. Welcome, by the way. So type your name and tell me who you are, what you do, so that I'm able to know about you throughout the broadcast. It has been a very busy day here, but I am excited. I'm almost to my Fitbit step goal. Do you guys use Fitbits? I do love it. It kind of keeps me focused on making sure that I'm moving and getting my heart rate up, and you know, and of course that's important in just overall heart health, and you know, making sure that I am as strong from a health standpoint as I can be to do all that God intends for me. So I do love my Fitbit a lot. Okay. Well, if you're on whoever my other viewer is, please, you know, put a comment. Let me know your name if you're getting on. Also, look on your screen to see if there is a share button so that you are able to share on social media so that other folks can join us as well. You'll look for the little swoop arrow that's underneath my picture there, and that will allow you to do that. So Fred, I'm wondering if we turn the phone, would it make it more wider? Because I'm noticing that the picture is not fully, so we're going to try to... Oh, okay. So that's designed for a cell phone. See, we're learning. You know, so of course, and if you look on your screen, there's a little box that, you know, the corners. It's like this. If you click that, it'll make it full screen on your cell phone. If you're looking on a cell phone, we weren't sure if it would allow us to take the video from the landscape orientation. So again, we're learning, trying to find all of this. So I appreciate your patience and learning with me, because I really do want to be able to use YouTube Live much more regularly, and because I love the ability to interact. So I see we've added some more viewers. I would love for you to share your name, where you're from, what you do, especially since we're talking about transforming your thinking, specifically in business. That's going to be my focus tonight. I know that what we allow our brains to focus on plays a huge, huge role in what we're able to do in our business. And we can't ignore it. It's important that we're thinking about what we're thinking about. And so often people do not take any time at all to think about what they're thinking about. And yet, because we neglect to consider what we're allowing our brains to focus on, those very thoughts can very much make or break our business. And really, all the things that I'm going to share with you, your thoughts can make or break your relationships. They can make or break your the interactions that you have with your friends, with your family, with your spouse. So your thoughts matter. While I'm going to really focus on actually the business aspect, all of these principles can be applied in pretty much anything that you are doing. Welcome to my new viewers. Again, would love for you to share that I am live. So just click that share button and share it out. on your social media options that are available to you there. And if you have an opportunity, type in your name, where you're from, what you do. Would love to see that. And I'm not sure on YouTube Live if there are hearts or thumbs up or any way to let me know that you're tracking with me and that you're able to follow. Okay, so there are thumbs up, but I'm not sure if I see the thumbs up. That's, that's Fred, my husband, was showing me, oh, I see a little thumbs up count up there. I see 0. So there are no thumbs up right now. So I'm not sure exactly if that is throughout or how that works. So anyway, we're learning. Remember, I am learning how to use this YouTube Live medium. Okay. So let's talk about transforming your business by considering the thoughts that you are having. Because what's important for you to understand, I want to give you 3 important facts about thoughts so that you are able to really use that as a foundation. Because each time I go live to you each week, because that's going to be my goal, we're going to hit on and we're going to build off of these 3 foundational pieces. So I'll keep referring back to these as I add videos regarding transforming your thinking. So for those of you who do not know me, I'm Elizabeth Mahusai. I am a jewelry lady that's my own business. I support full-time my husband who is with Fred Schatz. It's his business, Fred Schatz Photography. So I take care of all of his administrative invoicing, back office things, and assist him on site photo shoots as well. And of course, I'm also a motivational and inspirational speaker, trainer, and really my niche is this focus on transformational thinking. So my heart, really what I feel like is a life message is transformed thinking, and how transformed thinking can make a difference in your life and your business, in whatever arena you're wanting to apply these principles into. And so it's important that we're thinking about our thinking. So let me give you these 3 foundational things that I wanted to share. The first is that your thoughts that you have are foundational. They're so important because everything begins at that initial thought seed, we might call it. And you allow that thought seed to enter into your mind, and it's what develops a mindset. So this idea of a mindset, if we were to look at different words to help us to understand that, first, I would say the disposition that's around that, it's a state of mind regarding something. So it's like a predominant or prevailing tendency that you're going to have. That is going to be or define your disposition, which is part of that, that mindset that you carry. And then, of course, the intention that goes along with that mindset is a purpose or attitude toward the effect of one's actions. So as you're thinking about your thought life and the actions that you're taking, the intention behind it matters as well. But so both disposition and intention go into the development of our mindset. And so your thoughts are foundational to your mindset. You're going to start from the seed of a thought, and then it's what happens to that seed in your brain that really makes a difference in your, in this case, we're talking about your business. Okay, so that's the first thing. Thoughts are foundational. Now let's talk about the second thing, which are thoughts are powerful. Your thoughts are incredibly powerful. So I want to walk you through a progression, and I want you to think you're starting up here, and you start with the seed of that thought. And that thought is going to lead to a belief that you have. So I want you to imagine when you plant a seed in the ground and that seed begins to there's some things that are happening under the ground, but ultimately there's a shoot that comes out. And if we're going to talk about a tree, that tree trunk begins to come out. It's really small to begin with, but then it begins to grow. And then of course eventually it adds branches, and then eventually it adds leaves. So I want you to think about the progression of your thoughts in a similar way. You've got the seed of your thought, and out of that seed grows a belief. And then out of that belief grows expectations, and then your expectations will actually lead you to have attitude. So it's kind of like you're getting to those branches, these attitudes that you have about people, about things, about circumstances. And then your attitudes determine the actions that you take. And remember, action or non-action, both of those are in fact action. Choosing not to act is an action. And then of course your actions will develop habits in your life, and then your habits are what produce your results. And so I want to ask you, I just want to pause right now and ask you, are you satisfied with the results that you're getting in your business? So I would love for you to comment on that. Are you satisfied? Those of you who are watching, are you satisfied with the results that you are getting in your business? So what would you say about that? Because the goal of doing Facebook Live is to be able to actually interact with you live. To what? YouTube. Oh, YouTube. What did I say? Facebook. Oh, I said the wrong thing. I did that the last time I was on there too. That's not good. I got to work on that. I got to change I've been doing a lot of the other media. So, all right. So I would love to see some comments on, are you satisfied with the results that you are getting? And specifically, if there is something that you feel like is a real challenge in your thought life, if you had to give me one thought that you think, or one thing that's challenging in your business, I would love for you to comment so that I would be able to actually see that. And I am just making sure I could actually, I have the settings on show live messages. I'm not seeing anything. So I'm not sure if it's not coming through for you all, if you're trying to type, because I did see some comments early on from a couple of gals. I'm just not seeing any comments right now. So I'm just making sure that it's still working. So those are that's the progression of thoughts. Now there's a great author out there called Carolyn Leaf who wrote a book called Who Switched My Brain Off? And she is a leading neuroscientist. She's done a tremendous amount of brain research. I've enjoyed reading her material. And one of the things that she talks about in that book is that your thoughts are indeed measurable. They actually take up space in your brain, much like a tree takes up space in your yard. And they're active, they grow, they change. So your thoughts are, they can evolve in your brain, and they actually influence every decision, every word. Somewhat satisfied, need to work on the actions to get the desired result. Okay, good. So here's the thing. In order to work on the actions, it's important that we work our way back to the thoughts that are fundamental in terms of getting us to the action that we want. So I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you. So that's important in the fact that your thoughts actually take up space. They are very, very powerful. So for example, in the in the progression for me of actually doing coming into this YouTube Live, part of the reason why I'm wanting to add this in is because I have had a long-term vision of being a paid public speaker, an inspirational, a motivational, a transformational speaker. And I've just not done a whole lot with that. And Fred, my husband, has really been after me about moving forward in that. Well, if the seed of my thought is I'm just a little fish in a big pond of really talented and gifted speakers, then what happens is that thought, if not addressed for the limiting lack of limiting tiny thought that it is, what happens is that will grow into the belief that, well, no one's really going to want to hear what you have to say, and the expectation of who would actually hire you. And then that leads to the attitude of, well, I probably shouldn't put my name in for that or say anything to anyone. And that means the action is I don't pursue it, or I do not say or introduce myself to people who could connect me with other people. And then, of course, that leads to results that I don't like, which is hey, I got all the comments. All right, let's see. All right, we've got... It's at least now showing me comments. I'm happy about that. Okay, very good. All right, now the comments are covering up my screen, but that's good so that I can actually see them. I'm happy about that. Oh, there we go. It's like they kind of come and go. It's interesting. Okay, we had a little bit of a blip in our coverage right there. I wonder if it will all be stitched into one video or not. All the things that I'm learning. Okay, so thoughts are powerful. So we've got to be able to really consider what our thoughts are. The third thing are thoughts are transformational. It's important that we understand that just because we're thinking something today doesn't mean that we have to continue to think that tomorrow. Now, the likelihood is that we will be thinking it, but it's important that we are really determining what on what we are basing our thoughts. Are we basing it on what everybody else thinks, what the world is putting out there? Are we basing it on what truth is really what I want to get to? On what truth are we basing our thought life? Because that is going to very much determine where our thoughts go. For me, my goal is always to base my thoughts on what is true. And for me, what is true is something that does not change. It is true yesterday. It was true yesterday. It's true today. It's going to be the same true tomorrow, the truth that will be there tomorrow. And so that is, and for me, my source of truth would be the Bible. That's what I choose to base my life on. But here's the thing about your thoughts, something that Carolyn Leaf has in her book that I was telling you about. The surprising truth is that every single thought, even though it's positive or negative, it goes through the exact same cycle when it forms. So it's a lot of chemical, and they're called synapses that are happening, these impulses that are occurring in your brain, and it looks like a tree that is growing. It's telling me no connection on my screen. Down at the bottom, it's saying no connection. Maybe if you're still viewing, can you still see me? You can? You can still hear me too? Okay, still hear you. Thank you, Gwenda. I appreciate that. And so it's going through the same process, whether negative or whether it's negative or positive. And those thoughts are creating these trees in your brain, and they are growing, and they become more and more permanent the more we allow them to hang out in our in our brain without addressing them. So it's not as though I'm suggesting that you're going to think all positive thoughts, because that is unrealistic. You are going to have some negative thoughts. It's what do you do with the negative thoughts that matters. So for example, I had the negative thought of, oh my goodness, I am going to look stupid because I didn't test this out prior to doing this YouTube live event the first time. And what are people going to think? Okay, that's the seed of a thought. Now, if I don't address that thought and say to myself, is that thought, is it going to build my business, or is it going to bust my business? Because if I don't isolate it and think about it and then address, is it building or busting? What'll happen is if I allow it to hang out, then it grows and it adds branches and it becomes more permanent in my mind, and then other things become connected to it. Just like branches in a tree become very interconnected and woven together, and it's very difficult, especially in those thicker foliages, to really see which branch is which, where all those leaves are concerned. Well, that happens in your brain as well. It's very important that you're thinking about what you're thinking about. And so I had to say to myself, okay, I'm a work in progress. I'm learning this YouTube Live technology. I need to be patient, and I am not doing this for the approval of my audience. I'm doing this so that I'm pursuing the gifts and using the gifts that God has given me. I'm pursuing what I am passionate about. That's got to be where my thought process lies. Otherwise, I would have given up, and we would have never gotten this far in on the video. So the three things that I've covered with you are that thoughts are foundational. They are going to determine the mindset that you carry into things. Thoughts are powerful, and thoughts are transformational. So what I'm here to say is that you can change how you think, but it will not just happen. It takes work on our parts. We have to be willing to put in the work needed in order to get those thoughts to actually change. And so that's the important aspect there of what I'm trying to communicate to you. If you are stuck in your business, in order to get unstuck, you've got to think about what you're thinking about in order to determine what thoughts need to be changed. And it's not even before you can change them, you've got to identify them. You've got to actually identify the negative thoughts that you're allowing yourself to focus on that are causing you challenge in your business. And for me, one of the constant thoughts that I have to reject is that I've always got to have it together. That I have to have it together. I need to, I shouldn't have any issues with the technology. I should always start on time. And the reality is that that's not going to always happen, because newsflash, Elizabeth, you, me, I am not perfect. And that's a good thing, because people wouldn't be able to relate to me if I were perfect, because none of us are perfect, even though we want to think we are perfect. Can I get a witness? Is there anyone watching that can agree? Yes, Gwenda, thank you. That, none of us have it all together, even though we want to present ourselves as though we have it all together. And so I have to constantly reject that thinking that wants to take seed in my mind. And please hear my heart. There were many, many years where I had full-blown trees going on in my brain because I had convinced myself I had to have it all together. And so the way I dressed, the way I spoke, I never talked about having any struggles. I never talked about imperfections. I never talked about mistakes. I struggled to say I was sorry, or to seek forgiveness from people, because why? I began to, I started with that seed of you got to have it all together. The belief is what people see and hear matters. What they think about you matters. You've got to always have it all together. So my expectation was that every day I had to project that. And you know what was sad is that my attitude back in the day was, I know it all. I wouldn't have verbalized it that way. I hope you understand that. I wouldn't have come right out and said to you, I know it all. But I presented myself as though I did because I never talked about what I didn't know or what I didn't understand. I was very much about presenting that what I did know and what I did understand. And even if I didn't know it and I didn't understand it, I could be confident enough to make it seem as though I did. And what that means is I was really lying about things. I wasn't being truthful to say, you know, I really don't know where that place. Something as simple as someone says, Lockhart, Texas. That name sounds familiar to me, but I'm not exactly sure where that is. Back in the day, I'd have been like, oh yeah, I know where that is because you have, I mean, now you might ask me some follow-up questions that would help you to know that I don't know. But it was simple things like that, like a location in the state of Texas that I would have so been like, oh girl, I know where that is. And I would have I wouldn't know for sure, but I wouldn't want you to know that. And so that's what I'm talking about, is that South Texas south of Austin, okay, barbecue capital of Texas, really? Well, you know, we love us some barbecue. Our oldest son works at Spring Creek Barbecue here locally, so we do, and I'm sure you're going to say, well, that's a chain, not the same as coming down there and enjoying some of your barbecue. But anyway, we do love barbecue. But my point is, it could be even simple things. And I was I just so had this attitude of I know it all, or at least I need to project that I know it all. And you know what that led to, the action that resulted from that? I interrupted a lot. I inserted myself into conversations that I had no business inserting myself into. I told you about lying. You know, you don't think about it as lying, but I can look back now and go, man, I did a lot of lying because I wasn't truthful in saying, you know, I don't know where that is, or I'm not sure I understand that, or any of those things. And the results that I achieved from that, I don't know that I use that word lightly, was that it was constantly said of me, she's so intimidating. She's so intimidating. She's so intimidating. And so that is, and you know what? I didn't like those results. I didn't like those results because it became very evident to me that people weren't relating to me. And I wanted the relationships and I wanted for people to relate, but it wasn't happening. So I didn't like those results. And it took a little bit for me to get to a place where God could really reveal to me, man, Elizabeth, who you are in public, it's not the same as who you are in private. Who you are with your close friends and your family, where you're more genuine and you're more yourself, really, the imperfect, don't have it all together self. That's not the same as what you present in public. And people can't relate to that public persona. And that's a problem. I had to come to that realization of that's a problem. And then I had to set about to actually change that public persona. And so I'm thankful, because here's the thing, it was affecting me in my business. Isn't that interesting? I'm sharing with you this personal story of how I was always projecting that I had it together. And now I want to bring it back around to, are you stuck in your business? Because you see, I was stuck in my business. And the reason why I was stuck in my business is because I was trying to project that I had it all together, that I made no mistakes, that for the most part I was perfect, that I knew it all, and people couldn't relate. They were hesitant to engage me with any sort of depth, so that hindered relationships, and it was hindering the growth of my business. And it wasn't until I acknowledged that that was my challenge and started working on it, and trust me, it took a while. And I'm still a work in progress. I still, just like tonight with this whole YouTube live challenge of not understanding exactly how everything goes, I'm having those thoughts of people are going to think I don't know what I'm doing. But then to say to myself, that's okay. It's okay that they think I don't know what I'm doing, because I am learning. We all should be learning. And so I'm thankful for the moments of humbling, like tonight with this YouTube Live, and really understanding that, could I have done some things better? Yes, like test it out beforehand, right? But you know what? I tested it like, live, and now I know better for next time, and I'm thankful for that. But it's always a good opportunity to be humbled and to just remind myself, girl, you don't have it all together. So that's what I'm talking about in your business. If you're going to get unstuck and you're going to truly engage in transformation in your thought life, you've got to start thinking about what you're thinking about. Understanding that your thoughts are foundational, that they're setting the stage for what, I love Philippians 1:6, Gwenda. He who began a good work in you is faithful to complete it until the day of Christ Jesus. Philippians is one of my favorite books of the Bible, and as a matter of fact, Transformed Thinking came out of the book of Philippians and the Bible study that I wrote entitled Transformed Thinking. And it's also the topic of the book that I'm currently working on as well. And so it's an important thing to understand, that we are all works in progress. So let me just recap that thoughts are foundational. We've got to start thinking about what we're thinking about, specifically as it relates to our business. Secondly, thoughts are powerful because they lead way, they yield to belief, and belief yields to these expectations, and expectations will give us the attitudes that we carry and we project on people. And those attitudes, I didn't know you could go live on YouTube. See, you learned something too, Courtney. It's definitely a great option, and I'm trying to explore it and to learn. So those attitudes yield to actions, and they produce results. You see, so here I am. I have this vision and this gifting that God has given me to speak and to teach. It's a burning passion of mine. And as I'm in order to pursue and to move forward in that, and to really do what I truly, love to do, I've got to start exploring and putting out there this passion that I have, and that means learning new technologies. So if I'm unwilling to admit that I don't have it all together, I would never do something like this tonight, which is to figure out YouTube Live and events and broadcasting and all of those things. This is part of what I'm talking about. Because here's the thing, that third thing that I shared with you is that thoughts are transformational. You do not have to stay stuck in the thinking that you have right now. If you are struggling with negative thinking, you do not have to remain stuck in that negative thinking. On my YouTube channel, for those of you who are watching, I would love for you to, if you have not already subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. And then I want you to look at Become a Craftsman of Right Thinking. And that's going to allow you to see a full hour on how I specifically use Philippians 4:8 to take you through a process of thinking about what you think about, and then determining, is it positive or negative, and then rejecting the lies and replacing it with truth. How do you do that? Finding accountability and repeat the process over and over and over again. And so I want to challenge you to, if you want more information on this idea of transformational thought, that's a great place for you to start. Because each week, the topics that I bring to you, I'm going to approach them from this idea of transforming your thoughts in a particular area. So that's what I had prepared for you tonight. I'm going to pause for a moment now, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask, if you have a question for me, something specifically that you would like to ask me about transforming thought relating to your business. I'm going to give you opportunity to type that in so that I'm able to specifically help you here on the video. It's an opportunity to get some free one-on-one training live on YouTube. And of course, for those who watch the playback, I'm hoping that what's going to happen is I'm going to be able to see your comments as you type them, and then I'll be able to go back and answer you and respond and connect and interact with you even after the fact. So I'm excited about, again, I'm exploring all these different options that YouTube Live provides for us. We've always heard fake it until you make it. Your thoughts? That is a great question. Because see, what happens when we fake it until we make it? I think it depends on how you're faking it, okay? So when I first started Premier Designs Jewelry, I never wore much jewelry. So I was having to learn all of that stuff as I was going. And back in the day, I just caught this in the past few minutes. No questions yet. No problem, Courtney. I'm glad you're on. So let's talk about this fake it until you make it. Here are my thoughts. Here are my thoughts on that. If you're faking it in that you're not sharing with people, you're learning, and you're excited for them to learn with you. See, there's a difference in you can project confidence to people without lying to people, okay? And I think that's the important aspect of that. Because I guess by nature of the word fake it'd be interesting. I would love to do a word study on, just even on that word, to be able to, really look at what do we believe about the word. So it says fake. Prepare or make something, isn't this, deceptive or fraudulent. To fake a report, for example. To conceal the defects or make or appear more attractive. To pretend or simulate. But here's an interesting, to accomplish by trial and error or by improvising. Okay, so if we were to go with that, which, I would have to look at the history on that phrasing, fake it until you make it. But if we were to change the word fake to trial and error and improvise as you are learning to do it, well, now we have a whole different perspective on that phrase. Okay, so let me recap. If in my mind I'm thinking I've got to lie in order to get you to accept what I'm saying or to believe what I'm doing, that I say no. We cannot do that, because that means we are not being true to who we are, and we are also, people can't relate to that. What people can relate to is, man, I'm a work in progress. I use that phrase a lot. I'm a work in progress. I'm working on that. I'm working to learn that. So if we take it from the perspective of I'm willing to go through the trial and error and to improvise, that's what I was doing tonight on this YouTube Live, man, then I'm willing to fake it until I make it. But I think we just have to be careful with how we see that word. A phrase that I use in the place of that phrase, because I have to be careful myself, because I was a faker. Like I was definitely someone who projected that I knew it even though I didn't know it. So that was deceptive. Okay, that's deception. So what I say in the place of that phrase, it's worth doing poorly as you learn to do it well. That's what I have found has worked really well for me, that it's worth doing poorly as you learn to do it well. Because guess what? When you're working off of trial and error, when you're improvising, there are going to be some things that you do poorly. It's in the doing poorly that you then learn to do it well. And that's the part that I really love. And so that's a phrase that I've learned to substitute. I like that better than the fake it until you make it. And by the way, excellent question, because we hear that a ton in business. But here's the thing. If I want to invite someone in my business, so being in the direct selling industry, if you're watching this and you're in the direct selling industry, regardless of what your product is, if you are trying to deceive people in that you know something that you do not know, or even that you believe something that you don't really believe, or you're not of which you are not fully convinced, ultimately that will catch up with you, because I believe the truth always comes out. And it will affect us to some measure when we are not being forthright and truthful with people. So I think it's important that we're willing to say, man, I'm learning. Or when someone asks me a question to which I do not know the answer, I've had to really work on not acting like I know the answer and just simply saying, you know what? I am not sure. I follow you. I just found the live chat. Yay! I follow on YouTube. Thank you. Well, I appreciate that, Shirley. I'm so glad that you caught the live chat. What was I saying? I was saying something. It will come to me. I don't remember. But if God means for you to hear it, He will bring it back to my mind. If one of you knew the thought process that I was on, you could type it and then I will finish the thought process. I think what I was trying to say is that if you're inviting someone to do something with you and you are deceiving them in that you somehow have it all together or you're that good, the other person sitting across from you or who's watching you or listening to you, you said you were learning how not to act like you know it all. Oh, okay. So because I used to project that I knew it all, even when I didn't know it all, I've had to learn how when people ask me a question, I've had to learn how to say, you know what? I'm not 100% sure, but I'm committed to finding out the answer. So let me make some calls or let me do some looking so that I'm able to, to find that answer for you. Thank you, Fred. I appreciate that help. And so I think that's the important aspect there, is being willing to just say to people, hey, here's where I am. I'm committed to learning though, and we can learn it together. We can do it together. So that's a great question. So for the ladies who maybe joined on the latter end, I've been talking about business, transforming your thought life, specifically having to do with business. And I talked about that they're foundational, they're powerful, and they're transformational. You can catch up, you can go back to more towards the beginning, for that. But I had just opened it up for any questions that anyone had, and Gwenda had a great question on fake it until you make it, which is what I was just addressing. So before we close it out, is there anyone else who had a question that they would like for me to address relating to your thought life as it relates to business? So I'm just going to give you a moment. I'm thankful that I had my laptop here to be able to look up that word fake, because that definitely helped the conversation. So I'm happy about that. All right. Well, I do not see any other comments coming in or questions. So I want to thank you so much for just joining me on this first scheduled event that I've done on YouTube Live. I'm going to be doing more of these. I'm going to encourage you, subscribe to my channel. Make sure that your notifications are set, that you would receive an email anytime that I schedule an event. In order for you to be notified, so that you can actually add it to your, it would give you the opportunity to add it to your calendar. And I will look forward to interacting with you again live, and then also seeing the comments for those who actually watch the replay. So you're very welcome, Gwenda. I'm so glad you were able to get on. So thank you so much, ladies. You all have a great evening, and I will look forward to seeing you back here next week. Look for those notifications.